How are your relationships going? Do you believe in the one? Do you think you can actually find the one and only soulmate and actually find that person in your life? Most of us think about finding relationships as finding the one that's going to rescue us and save us from everything. Our loneliness, our despair, if, this attraction towards this one person is like, he's going to be my everything and she's going to be my everything. Are you willing to actually walk through difficult times together as well? Can we actually find everything that we need in that one person only? Can he or she fulfill all my dreams? I believe the answer is yes. The answer is you can find someone like that, and you can actually stay with someone like that too, in marriage for a long time. But are you and I willing to actually walk through that relationship, that marriage, that dating experience, through challenges, through difficulties, is what most of us are afraid of. Relationships are like a roller coaster. They are ups and downs. So initially when we're dating and we're going out and we're attracted to someone, it's all beautiful, it's all attractive. We want to get close to that person, we want to get to know that person. And so there's a part of our function of who we are is almost like everything that is messy and scary and impossible is almost blanked out. And then suddenly we get into the relationship and we realize, hey, wait a minute, there's a little bit of disagreement here, there's some things that are unsettled here. How do we actually navigate through that? That's the key part. And I always say this to couples. If you're going to get together, be prepared to also stick it around for a long period of time because you're willing to walk through the tough times. Now that's the scary notion for most couples and most people. Listen, marriage is like seasons. A relationship, a committed relationship like marriage goes through seasons. In summertime, we're passionately in love. The sun is out and everything is amazing and we're finding love with each other. And then we have to change seasons too. We go through winter, and winter is a time when it's cold, and sometimes you're going through seasons when it's, you have your babies and you're raising children and there's no time for each other. Can you stick it out through that too? It's cold, it's tough. Can you be willing to work through those difficult conversations? And springtime comes and the roses and the flowers are out again. Are you willing to take a new adventure out together? And here's the thing about relationships and marriage particularly, is that marriage is a living, growing relationship. And there are seasons to actually grow into adventure with each other. Like, how do you do that? How do you find excitement with each other? Those are spring seasons that you actually learn how to fall in love again. And autumn is the time to actually find rest with each other. We cannot be busy all the time, moving through life, moving through day to day and routine, just doing life, and not have time for each other. We've got to know how to rest. We've got to learn how to turn towards each other and learn how to stay connected with each other and navigate through difficult periods in your relationship. So that's marriage for you. And yes, can you live happily ever after? I say yes, if you can walk through all 4 seasons. So one of the great conversations that we can have together as partners in a relationship is when we can learn how to have difficult conversations. And that's the key part. How do you actually turn towards each other when you're going through something difficult in your relationship? When you're going through a rough patch? Now, that's important because the turning towards each other, now it's okay to agree to disagree. You can have your opinion, he can have his opinion. It's okay to have difference of opinion. But here's the thing, when you're sitting down and having difficult conversations, you got to lay aside your emotions. You got to lay aside your beliefs. You got to lay aside your opinions and make a decision to say, okay, how are we going to actually walk through this as a committed couple? You can have your belief, I can have my belief, but basically, where can we meet halfway through this? So in a matter where there is a difficulty or rough patch that's happening in your relationship, what I always say is learn to exercise your will. Exercising your will is laying your emotions aside. So one of the things that I always tell my clients in couples therapy, now you understand when you go through things that are rough, disagreeable between the both of you? How are you going to work this out now? Is the question lies with you as the individual. You're two people in a relationship, but the two of you are two separate beings coming into this relationship. Ask the question now, if you're looking for something, you're looking for agreement, you're looking for understanding, you're looking for trust, you're looking for this person to love you again, you're looking for this person to be able to forgive you. Whatever you're looking for, I always say to the individual, what are you willing to invest in order to be able to receive back again? You got to put something out there. You can't ask for something that you have not given. You can't make a withdrawal without a deposit. And so this is usually really difficult in relationships because, again, the individual person always wants what I want. And I need matters. Yes, you do matter. But in a relationship, you're growing from I to us. From I to two of us. How do we do life together? And so the ability to connect beyond the I is to ask that first question is, what can I do for you? How do I invest in this relationship in order to get something in return? What seed do I put out so that I get a harvest back in return? And this is where it's usually very difficult for couples because I'm hurt, I'm angry, I'm upset. He did this to me, she did this to me. How am I supposed to be able to give if this person has disappointed me? He needs to do that first, she needs to do that first. And this is where I say couples play ping pong because they go back and forth trying to find this validation for themselves. So I say, hey, listen, if you want to find validation, how does validation look like to you? What does that look like for you? Is that understanding? Is someone looking at you in the eyes and say, I hear what you're saying. I hear you. I don't have to agree with you, but I just hear you. Is that what you want? Then mirror that to your partner. I hear you. I don't necessarily agree with everything you say, but I hear you, and I'm willing to hear you. So I cannot ask for something if I have not given into that relationship first. That's the key part in learning how to navigate through something that's difficult in your relationship. So there are two parts to the question. So the first part is that, firstly, when we enter into relationships, all of us enter into relationships thinking about ourselves. So it's my needs. So we characterize ourselves a little bit more simpler. Like, I've got basic needs. I just want your company whenever I'm lonely. Like, I love to talk to you. I love to do these things for you. So the way I show my care is I cook for you. But when we perceive another person in that relationship, is a little bit more complex because it goes through our filters. So it's like, if you don't show up at this time when I told you to show up, you're just now ditching me. You're giving me excuses. You don't want to spend time with me. So we characterize the other person in a little bit more of a complicated way. We see ourselves a bit more simpler. And so now the expectation is I deserve better because I'm doing all of this. I'm caring, I'm kind, and I'm very functional, right? So I'm doing all these things. I expect something in return. Why are you not giving it to me? So in a relationship, there are all these different nuances as well, because there's personality at play, beliefs in play, there's your opinions in play, there's your how you're feeling in play. How do we read all of that in a relationship? We can't do that because all of this is happening at an unconscious level. So to be able to manage now and work through all these different filters, I like to call it frequencies that are all turned on. And we now want to be able to tune in to the right frequency with our partner. This is what we get to do, is to ask the question again, how are my choices affecting my partner? I'm asking now because I want to look beyond my own way of thinking. How is it affecting you? So when I have a conversation with you, it's like, babe, how is these things affecting you? And so I get a response. I take it in now and I'm like uncertain because it's going through my filter and I'm thinking, I've done all these things for you. but let me stay curious and without judgment. Tell me more. What's going on? Because this is how I feel. This is what I notice, and this is what I've been doing. Can you tell me what's going on here? So when you can listen that way and ask the questions, you begin to find out a little bit more also about your partner. But the key part is to always understand what we only see is that we see behavior. We never see the choices that we're making unconsciously that also affect our partner. For example, we can do something we perceive that is caring. I've cooked a great meal for you, but then my presence can be uncaring. I can have done something so amazing for you, but my heart towards you is cold. Now that coldness, that uncaringness that comes from deep within is what actually gets picked up by our partners in the relationship. So very often couples sit in therapy and they tell me about all the amazing things they have done. And I say simply to them, well, okay, if you put an apple seed to the ground and you take that seed and you plant it to the ground, you are not going to get back oranges. You're not going to get back bananas. You're not going to get back anything else but apples. So if you say you've been caring in this relationship and you've done this over and over again, why are you not getting back care in this relationship? Because the law that governs the earth, as in what I put out there, I will also receive. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, also governs relationships.